Mr. Minsky said, Dixie, when I first came to New York, he said you look like Marilyn, so I'm going to put your picture big, real big, Marilyn Monroe's name real big, of burlesque way down here where no one can see it. I said, Mr. Minsky, they'll throw tomatoes. But see, it gave me a gimmick. So then everything Marilyn did, I did. Now, the Minskys came from Russia to escape the Tsar's army, and Billy Minsky, they settled over in Brooklyn. And Billy Minsky ran over to Manhattan, and he would see the big Ziegfeld Follies show, and he said, Pop, why can't we have that for the poor people over in Brooklyn? He said, no, Billy, well, you're going to be a cantor in the Jewish religion, and you're going to go on with what you have to do over here in Brooklyn. Don't go to Manhattan. What they do is what they do. We do what we do in Brooklyn. Well, Billy Minsky found out that he could rent some of those costumes. He rented an old theater, and he put on a burlesque show. He didn't put on a burlesque show, I'm sorry. He tried to put on a big, elaborate Ziegfeld show, but the people started laughing. The girls weren't trained very good, and they tripped into beautiful gowns and things. Well, the people were laughing and laughing, and he said, the father said, see, Billy, they're laughing at your show. And he said, that's right, Pop, that's just where it's at, laughing. He said, that's just what the country needs right now. Billy, those immigrants could see the poverty, yet they could see the wealth. They could see so many of the things that we couldn't see because they were so poverty-stricken. If they could put a show together and make people laugh. So the Minskys became the leaders in burlesque. They put in the runways, they put in the colored lights, they put in the big production numbers, and they put on these songs and dances and comedians and comics and juggling acts in between. Like I said, no long, drawn-out, dreary plot. During the 30s, the public did not want to have to think too much because they had too much to worry about, how they're even going to put food on the table for the family. So that's how I was a Minsky girl, and I was very proud to be one. And, of course, these are all me. That's where it says, gentlemen, I must inform you I'm the attorney for Marilyn Monroe. And this is Marilyn in her red dress, and this is my red dress. The one I wore when I did that particular act. Now, the comedians and the comics, now, they were the backbone of the show. If you don't get all you want, you can do some in-shots, you know. The comedians and the comics were the backbone of the show. Jack Benny, Art Carney, Jackie Gleason, and every top comic was always married to a very attractive woman, and she was real well built, you know, shiny red-brown hair, and sometimes the big scene would open up, and he'd be sitting there with a big old cigar in the newspaper, and she'd be ironing the clothes, and she'd say, all right, now you buy me some more new clothes, and if you don't buy me new clothes, I'll take off my blouse. Well, she'd take off her blouse. He wouldn't pay any attention, puff on the cigar, read the newspaper. Then she'd say, now you buy me more new clothes, and if you don't buy me any new clothes, I'm going to take off my skirt. Well, she'd take off her skirt. He wouldn't pay any attention, puff on the cigar, read the newspaper. Now she's really mad and angry. She's ranting and raging, running up and down in front of the audience, in front of the young kids. And then she says, all right now, if you don't buy me any more new clothes, I'm going to take off all of my clothes. And I'm going to go nude in front of all of your friends down to the post office. Well, he slammed the paper and the cigar down. What? You're going to take off all your clothes? And you're going to go nude in front of all of my friends down to the post office? Yes. Here, mail this letter. Now, the most important part about the blackout is whoever goes on next, you better be ready to burst through the curtain like a ball of fire. Because, see, once you got your audience, don't ever lose them or you never get them back. So that was the key, see, to these burlesque theaters. Now, there were black girls, Chinese girls, Japanese girls, every kind of variety you could think of.
And, did they work in the same clubs together?
Oh, yeah. Well, mostly theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Theaters is a little different than
theaters,
the club.
Yes.
Yeah. Theaters, anyone could go. And,
so the black and the white and the Asian all worked in the same theater together?
We didn't play down south too much, but mostly St. Louis, Chicago, Detroit. Well, we played Canton, Dayton, Buffalo. No, the theaters were just something sort of separate and special. Nobody really bothered anybody. Especially the cast. We all got along wonderful together. You know, and the audience just comes in and pays a ticket and sees the show. And you see, you're separated from the audience. You see, you're back here. So there's no contact, really, you know.
Yes.
And we didn't care what color or what shape or size they were, because we're going to get paid at the end of the week. You put on a good show, it's going to happen. You know, I was just thinking, that brothel, does it have a room for a stage or a... Roosevelt put the Japanese in the internment camps because the entire state of California produce industry was under their control. So I worked in the fields, and I loved it. I had never seen a cow, and I'd never seen a horse, so it was really a big deal for me. And then the last year of the war, I worked at Minner Field, where I'd put the struts on these airplanes. You see, the young pilots would come in on the belly and forget to put them up, and my job was to put them back on, see. I'm an honorary captain in the United States Navy and a mascot on the Seacat. Now, you see, the young audience that burlesque had the young men that marched off to war, they weren't the same when they came back. They didn't want to go sit in an old burlesque theater. Hey, let Grandpa go sit there. We're going to go where there's neon. Our windows are round like a porthole. Want a few drinks. They deserved it. So the era was coming to an end. Society was changing. Before it ended, of course, this is Gypsy Rose Lee's trunk right here. And that happens to be Gypsy's hat and Gypsy's shoes. This was from the 20th Century Fox movie where they made For the Boys. And Bette Midler made a remake, as you know, of that movie.
And who is this?
That is Tempest Storm. Now, she's 70 years old right here. All
My
of these are
God,
Tempest
she
Storm.
looks great.
This is her in the 60s. That's what she looks like right now. I just talked to her a couple days ago. This is her gown, 19. She just mailed me these boas here. There's two white ones.
Do you talk to Carol Doda?
No, I don't know. I was on television with Carol Doda once in Los Angeles a long time ago. I don't have her address. Out of this was here with a boa, but I loaned it to a woman that has a diner because, well, anyway, it's called Peggy Sue's, and it's on the way to Vegas.
Right,
maybe you've seen those big posters of Peggy Sue's. Peggy Sue was in the movies.
Yeah.
Anyway, her place looks like this with lots of photographs and pictures. Only her pictures are all Peggy Sue and movie stars. This is Candy Bar. I'm going to shoot this one anytime. This is Candy Bar, the famous, notorious Candy Bar. And she brought me this lettuce and this lettuce from Texas and pepper. Farrah Fawcett bought the rights to Candy Bar's life. And she was very, very famous, very notorious, went to the penitentiary. This is what she looks like now. And she actually had a movie contract at one time with Republic Studios. And we did the background for Blaze. They read 20 or 30 of our magazines. And this is more things about Candy. I've got to find more room to put a lot of things up. And, of course, Lily St. Cyr, absolutely fabulous. We all adored Lily. Everybody loved Lily St. Cyr. She came on stage at one time interact with a real matador. And then the matador would be gored by the bull and so forth. And it was really, everything she did was really very first class. And you can just tell by her photographs and pictures, you know, that she really tried to put on a good show and a good act, you know.